Got it.
I'll
Do we have
second
a
that.
second? Second, Woody, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Looks like unanimous. Old business none. Moving on to new business. Item number 4, architect's report. Justin, I see you gone. If you care to update
Yeah,
us.
sure. Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. We have started our weekly reports. In your packet is a report from April 8th. We are in each report, we will be reporting on the amount of construction RFIs, the amount of submittals, the meetings that we've held since the last meeting or the last report, site visits, any directives or bulletins that we've issued, as well as site activities and any pertinent photographs. So fairly limited report this time, but we have started the construction administration phase with gusto, which is to say that we've received 23 RFIs and 63 submittals. So certainly Gilbane has been working with the subcontractors to make sure that we are getting the submittals submitted for the project. A lot of the RFIs specifically deal with some of our scope reviews in order to just clarify certain things, as well as encumber anything that has been experienced in the field. So with that, as part of the report, not much for site activities. Obviously, some of the earth movement has occurred, as well as some of the mobilization for the site. And as we understand in our weekly OAC meetings, the 7 line, which is basically the line that is between it's the retaining wall, or the line that separates the lower level from the western portion of the upper level. That is the critical path. So that has been what all of the subjects of our conversations at the OAC meetings for logistics, planning, et cetera, have been encumbering. Other than that, if there are any questions related to the content of the report that I believe was part of your packet, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions? Maybe save those for next week after we get a chance to dive in. Thank you, Justin. Next, construction managers report. Robert, if you want to.
Yep. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Here, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, see if this works. Can you see it? Anyone seeing that?
Yep, see now. Yep.
All right, perfect. So as Justin had mentioned, what I highlighted on the structural foundation plan, this is that 7-line wall that divides. This is the upper part of the school, closest to Mungertown Road, and then this is your lower section, the 2-story section. And what you're seeing here is that retaining wall highlighted. As you go down to this photo here, this is actually that wall, the footing prep for that wall. So this is as of this afternoon. The concrete contractor has mobilized, so the rest of this week he'll start working on this area and forming up the footings. And then as we get the footings poured, he'll be then working on the retaining wall, the actual wall portion. That wall will probably take us overall, our duration for the footing and then the wall is close to 3 weeks. So this will almost take us right through the end of April, the work to get this wall established and poured and all stripped. And then we actually have to waterproof the backside, this side of the wall facing Mungertown Road. We'll end up getting waterproofed, and there's a footing drain. So there's a decent amount of work at this area that will progress over the next couple weeks. As we finish this area and keep proceeding with our schedule, what we'll actually do is start building out these lower level foundations. So we'll start working towards Daniel Hand High School in the back of the site. And like I said, that'll be more towards the end of April and into May. The photo I took here, this is standing kind of on right around this area here. So I'm standing right at the edge of the foundation and I'm shooting back towards Mungertown Road. So you can see, if I try to zoom in and give you a little perspective, we're fairly down in the ground here, even though compared to the excavator. This is probably 12 to 14 feet. And that retaining wall, one cast, is going to be close to 14 feet. So you could see there's a decent amount of grade elevation from the upper level down to this bottom level. Outside of that, we're really, like Justin mentioned as well, trying to push through some middles, bring on all the contractors, get them all signed up, get their contracts all signed, make sure we have all the proper paperwork we need in hand for them to start, and then start getting them to release materials, get materials approved, and start looking forward to the exterior skin after steel, and then the fit out more in the fall. So a lot of our engineering are in our submittal and procurement phase is starting to look at what we need for inside the building and with those trades and trying to get that stuff in and approved and released. Any questions?
Is that native soil in the foreground, that picture? Or is that imported material?
So pretty much everything you see is native, except for the stone. Obviously the stone is imported, but this is all the natural glacial fluvial soil. If we were really to walk the site and zoom in, what we have is this is kind of topsoil in the back. Then we have some stripped subsoil. And then as we get down to this more granular material here, which is hard to really see from the photo, but this is into that natural glacial fluvial. So it's been good looking material so far. We haven't hit really any rock or ledge, which is good. There's a very small little boulder pile off screen, but this has been kind of a fairly straightforward excavation. We have been dealing with there's been some ponding, and the water table is fairly high at this location just because of the rain, I believe. So it's been a little higher than what we've seen in the initial borings, but we've been kind of pushing through and dealing with that. This little light tower is actually basically out there as a generator to power a little sump pump. So we have a sump pump in the ground below the bottom of footing that we're using to kind of try to suck that water table down and keep it from impacting any of the excavations.
Any erosion control issues or problems so far?
Nope. So Nathan Young, the third party, has been out. He was out on Friday after the last rain event, and we actually got perfect score on the report.
Perfect.
So it's been manageable to date.
Good. Make sure you keep it that way till the groundbreaking at the very least.
Yep.
Got it. Great. Thank you so much. Any questions for Gilbane from the committee? Hopefully we'll get a chance to see some. I don't know how many people are going to be able to attend the groundbreaking ceremony. It's already pretty well broken, but hopefully we got a good turnout. Yeah, we'll get the chance to see it in person. So great. And moving on, the next is the OPM update. Adam, if you got the chair here or the podium.
So thank you, Mr. Chair. As we mentioned, the groundbreaking is it's a shorter ceremony planned for this Friday, April 19th, about a half hour, so being it out fairly quickly. In terms of, we have some procurement items in the invoice packet coming up here in just a moment on the agenda, but wanted to give you a little bit of a preview of some of the items coming down the pipe for likely the next meeting. We'll start to get into some of the change orders, as well as there was a bid opening for the one package that needed to be rebid for miscellaneous metals. That came in, it was slightly higher than expected, about a $50,000 premium. So Gilbane we just had the scope review meeting, and they'll be wrapping up the recommendation to award and hopefully getting that to you all at the next meeting to close up that last package. Otherwise, in terms of some of the changes you might see coming down the pipe, some of them are things that we've talked about before as expected. So we talked about how I wanted to look into a roof warranty increase from 20-year to 30-year. As well as the concrete sidewalk out front on Mungertown Road, going from asphalt sidewalk to concrete sidewalk, as well as some discussions with school administration for some sort of owner directed changes, we'll call them. So they've talked about the height of the toilets in some of the smaller student classrooms and aligning those. There's been some discussed changes there that we'll be putting together in terms of a purchased price proposal request and a change order. And then the third sort of flavor of items would be things that come up in the field. So if you recall, we had some soil testing done as part of the overall stripping and exporting of soil and things of that nature. So based on some of the testing, there'll be some changes for Gilbane's contract to accommodate those costs that we'll be reviewing as we go on later in the upcoming OAC meetings and school building committee meetings. So again, nothing for tonight in terms of Gilbane change orders, but that's something that we're looking to start putting in front of the committee next meeting to keep that process moving. Any questions on any of that before we get into procurement and the invoice packet?
Moving on to number 5 then.
Yep. So just one item for this evening, and it's a fairly straightforward item. So this is a formal AIA wrap-up change order for Tecton. There were a couple of things that were discussed in the past. Last meeting, this SBC voted to authorize services for the Eversource survey, as well as way back before bidding, there was an additional site survey walk that was needed for a deep listed species response. And that was done through Benish as well. So this change order just sort of reflects a cleanup, but for the purposes of formally documenting and the authorization, wanted to put this in front of the committee for a formal vote as part of the minutes. So there is a draft motion, but it's effectively just to approve amendment number 2 in the amount of $9,600 for Tecton's contract.
Any discussion before I make a formal motion? No.
I don't know if you can see the motion on the screen or if I got to
Where
reshare.
is the bell? I'll volunteer for that.
Okay, thanks, Woody.
Motion to approve amendment 2 to Tecton's existing contract in the amount of $9,600 for the NDDB survey and Eversource utility survey.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Sharon seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Back to Adam on your next item 6.
All right. Item 6 is the invoice packet. So this is sort of the last pre-construction invoice, if you will, reflecting services from Colliers as European, Gilbane. This last $48,000 is the last pre-construction invoice before we start to get into construction pay applications. Anticipate the first one of those to come at the next meeting. And then Tecton with their closeout of design and bid services. And then advertisement for Hearst Media. I believe this was from the stormwater for the actual newspaper advertisement for that. So a total of $215,426.73.
Yeah, so this is the last of the small invoices.
Yes, yes, they start ramping up pretty quick here as we move on.
Would anyone like to make this one this modest motion?
I'll do this one. Motion to approve the invoice package dated 4/15/24, including invoices from Colliers, Gilbane, Tecton, and Hearst Media for a total approval of $215,426.73.
Thank you, Sharon. Would anyone like to make a second?
Sure. I'll
Second.
second.
What do you take it?
Yeah, you grabbed it. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Right.
Thank you. Back to, so any other, you're done with item 6, Adam, I assume?
Yep,
Any
that's it for tonight.
Did you want to discuss any kind of schedule things or just we just have the building committee, I mean, not the groundbreakings on Friday, and we're just, as of now, we're just scheduling our regular bi-weekly meetings, right?
Correct. If
Is the
something
next-
comes up, oh, sorry.
Go ahead. I was asking when the next meeting is.
No, so yeah, so if something comes up that requires a special meeting due to some large value, we can identify that. As of right now, I don't anticipate that being the need. So in terms of the next meeting, it will be, bear with me, should be May 6th, but I'm just double confirming that there wasn't a shift due to a holiday or something. Species.
Looks clear except for hangovers from Cinco de Mayo.
Raquel and I did think about that when we were doing the schedule, but erred on the side of keeping the meeting instead. So yes, May 6th is the next regularly scheduled meeting.
Got it. Let me start looking at this later summer if things have vacations or whatever, but beautiful. So by the next time we'll actually be seeing some vertical construction going up pretty fast by in 3 weeks. So that's great. Moving on to item number 7, remarks, public comments. Any, Jeannie, do we see any hand raised or anybody?
No public is in attendance.
Got it. Beautiful. Item 8, remarks. Does anyone have any remarks, thoughts? Tax tips, anything out there? Beautiful. I guess we're in good shape. So hopefully I'll see some of you, most of you on Friday, and enjoy the rest of this beautiful day.
All right, I make a motion that we adjourn.
All in favor? Aye. Hands raised, unanimous. Thank you so much. Take
See you
care.
Friday.
So long, all.
Yeah.